Hello friends, welcome to 𝑫𝒓𝒐𝒑 𝑪𝒐𝒍𝒖𝒏𝒔 video session 111. So basically in today's video, we will actually walk through the slice dataset which we have on the data flow and how that keep or drop node works on the recipe section. Maybe we'll walk through that as well. So first of all, let me open this analytics studio over here. And in one of the session, we calculated a lot of derived fields and I think you understood like what is the different types of compute expression node which we have. So here, very quickly, let me go to the data manager. And after that, manage data flow. And let me go to data flow and recipe and let me open the. So in one of the session, we were actually walking through the derived fields, right? So now we will understand like how we can utilize this particular slice data set. Okay. Very simple, no? So basically what it does is basically there are certain fields which you want to keep or if you want to drop, you can go ahead and do that. Okay. For example, if I just open this particular data set, okay. If I open this particular data set over here, for example, I can see right now, let's say the name and stage name, right? So you can see the name and stage name both are there, okay, which is fine. Now, what I will do is basically, let's say I bring this slice node over here, and let's say I write something like remove name and stage name, okay? So my source will be derived fields, and maybe I'm going for this mode of drop. So let me just select the ID and let me select the name over here, okay? So I went for this one, and finally what I do, I will just connect this one. So here, okay. So what I have done is basically I have just created this new node. I brought in this new node called slice dataset where basically I'm dropping two columns, that is ID and the name. So currently, if you see, you can see the ID and name, right? So for example, I'm sorry, it has to be name and stage name. Okay. So let me go for stage name and maybe I can disable the ID. Okay. So currently, as you can see here, we have this name and stage name, right? So if I click on name, you're able to see the name. And if I click on stage name, you're able to see the stage name as well. Okay. Now what will happen is once I run this data flow, okay, basically you won't be able to see the name and stage name, what you are able to see right now in this data set. Okay. So let me update and let me run the data flow. Okay. So let's go back to the data monitor. I think I ran it 2 times, so that's why it's showing as failed because I ran that 2 times. So whenever you run it 2 times by mistake, so basically it starts to pop up this failure message. But anyways, for now we can monitor this one. So as you can see, this ran successfully. And now what I will do is basically I will just refresh this lens. Okay, basically just the data set. And now if I try to search with name, you won't see the name as well as you can see here, you won't see the stage name as well. Okay, so that is something which you are not able to see, which we are able to see earlier, right? When I was searching with name over here. So that's the thing about this keep mode, I mean drop mode. So similarly, as the name suggests, we have this keep mode as well. So if you want to keep certain fields, you can do that. For example, let's say instead of remove, now I want to write something like keep. I just want to keep those two fields. Okay, so what I will do, I will just change this to keep mode. Okay, so I will click on save, and what will happen is over here you won't see any other fields. For example, there are so many fields which you see, right? The close date, created date, amount, string, like all the derived fields which are there. So once I run that, you will only see the name and stage name. You won't see anything else. Okay. So let me just update. So I've just kept this over here, which is fine. And let me run the data flow. So we will once again monitor it. So you can see this data flow ran successfully. And now if I refresh this now, so you see we only have the name and stage name. We don't have other fields which were there, or any other fields which we had created as a derived field. Only these two names are being there. So this is the way we can play around with this slice data set. So as the name suggests, basically it helps to, before your final data set, it will help you to remove all the columns which are not needed or which you want to keep in your final data set. So usually we use this particular node prior to our final data set, so that in your final data set, if there are certain fields or certain columns which you just want to keep or drop, you can just go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's the thing about the slice data set. Now this same slice data set is something which we have on the recipe section as well. So let's say, I think in one of the session, maybe I guess free session 11, we were actually doing that derived fields, right? So here we calculated all the derived fields, and we will understand how that particular keep and drop works over here. So I will just open this particular data set. Time to load. Maybe I can refresh this once. Okay, so here, if we check, like in the above column, we have something called as drop column. Okay, so again, we will just do the same thing. And what I will do is, probably, first of all, let me open this data set. It's the same issue which I'm getting. So as I told you, like, if you don't open a data set for a very long time, you will actually get that warning error. Like, it will not show you any result. And if you click on more data set, it will show you that your data set has not been queried for a while. So the only way to resolve this, to refresh it more and more times. Okay, so that's the only way you can do it. Okay, let's try it one more time. Okay, finally it is open. And now if we see over here, here also we can find the name, right? And also we can find the stage name, isn't it? So now what I will do is, basically in the same recipe, I will actually go for this. I will select the column. So in that particular transform node only, you will have that option. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to go to this transform node. Okay. So on the transform node, like, I have the name, and I can just go for this drop column. So there's a section called drop columns on the transform node. And here also I will apply the same. So I have the name, and I can also go for the stage name. Okay. I can here the transform node, I can write something like drop name and stage name. Okay. And that's the thing. Now I will just save and run. So here at last you have this drop name and stage name, which you can see. And once this recipe runs, we will actually check on the data set if we can see it or not. So let's monitor this as of now. Okay, so as this ran successfully, as you can see over here. So this ran successfully, and now what we will do is we will just refresh this once again. And here, if I search with name, okay, I don't see that name and stage name. Okay, I see some other derived fields which are already there, but I don't see that name and stage. So that's the thing about this one. And similarly, if we follow that approach, where if we want to keep it, so I will just enable this button keep, and of course I will just, okay, once I switch to keep, there are many things which are coming up, so I will just if there are quite many. Let's see. So I think with keep it becomes a tedious task if you have too many columns. So you have to cancel all those which are there. Okay, now I can go for name and I can go for stage name. And what I will just write over here is I will just change this transform node to keep name and stage name. Okay. So that's the thing. So currently I will just have the name and stage name. So as you can see on the data set, you don't see the name and stage name, but once I run this recipe once again, you will be able to see the name and stage name only. And you won't see any other fields which are already there. Okay. So you see all this name and stage name, or in fact closed date, all these things you won't be able to see on this recipe run successfully. So now once again, we will just monitor this one. So as you can see, this recipe ran successfully. And now if I refresh the data set, you see you're only getting name and stage name. Okay. So that's the whole thing about this slice data set on data flow, and that keep and drop column which we have on the recipe. So if we just, do a quick analysis. So here, for example, I have this pre-session 6. So, there's a different node to this, which is slice data set, where you can easily keep and drop. Like here, of course, whatever fields you select, and once you navigate to keep and drop, it becomes easier for you. And the same thing, something which we have on our transform node. So you don't have a different node for this, like slice data set, which you have in data flow. On the transform node, you have this option of drop, right? So if you select, you have this option, something called drop columns. So you have to select that option of drop columns, and you get that option to either drop or keep that. Of course, when you drop, you can select the fields, but with keep, too many fields comes up and you have to cancel and select the appropriate ones. So that's the thing. So this is all about the slide data set data flow, and that drop columns option which we have under the transform node in recipe. So with both the option, what happens is whatever fields you need to keep or drop, like at the end of the day, whatever final fields you need to see on the data, so the final columns which you need to see, you will be able to get that. So yeah, it's a very short one, very easy concept over here, but yeah, just wanted to explain you. And yeah, we'll meet very soon in our next video. Thank you.